All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How are y'all doing? Everything is connected, and the viewers are smarter than the average bear. And there's an interesting wrinkle, but we'll probably talk about it at the end of the show. We won't talk about it to begin with, but there's an interesting wrinkle in the Assange saga that proves me right. Proves me right. It's not about necessarily being right, but it's just, I had a hunch. I had a hunch in this news that came out about Assange. This wrinkle in his case proved my hunch correct. My hunch was correct. Jazz Farm, hot. Yes, absolutely. We're going to talk about it. Everybody's rolling in here, and we're going to leave this bear intro. We're going to leave it grizzled for now. I know it's Black Bear News, but we don't discriminate. We like all bears. We're mostly bear-centric. It's not about the black or the brown or the grizzly. It's mostly just about the bear. Black bear, just has a ring to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's hot here. It's hot as blazes. Oops, shoot. 101 in Colorado. Gilly. It was varying degrees of hot here. Right now it's 84. But hot enough, and it's going to get real toasty in the next couple weeks. Looks like, oh my God. Looks like around 4th of July we'll be pushing 100. The growling bear. It's about the growl, yes. It's just about the bears. The bears. They could be, I know that's Black Bear News, but it's okay. We're inclusive here. All bears are welcome. Yeah, I was going to change it yesterday, and then I realized, I'm not going to change this. It's cool the way it is. I'm going to leave it. But good to see you. Or anybody on Twitter? If you're on Twitter, you know what to do. Like the video, retweet the video. And I had a limited time. I mean, I had some stuff lined up for the show. I have some stuff that's juicy for the show, but I had limited time to really do some compiling. 92 in upstate New York, 70 in Seattle. That sounds delightful. 70 degrees in Seattle sounds great. From the Rapidan Dam collapse, or near the Rapidan Dam. Did the dam collapse? I don't know. But this house collapsed into the river. Into the drink. Oh, you guys can't see it. Sorry. Can you see it? Can you see it? Is it happening? Man, it's hot here. Everything's moving slow. I apologize. Where is it? Come on. Everything's moving real slow. Here we go. Yeah, I guess the bear could be scary if you're not watching the screen, if you're just listening. It comes out of nowhere. Or maybe if you're wearing like headphones, the bear might get you. Isn't it though? That is a great shot with the sun setting in the distance and the house collapsing into the river. That's beautiful. Who's the DP on that one, bro? All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going, or let's get into it. I want to save this. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, guys. Oh, sheesh. It's real toasty here in my studio. My studio is very warm. And, yeah. I didn't get a chance running today, and I just don't think it's going to happen. Okay. It's an interesting post here from the weather professor. It's more startling than scary. You just don't expect it, do you? No one expects. The bear growl. So from Zeke Hosfather by way of Jeff Baradelli. Essentially, without the cooling impact of aerosols, we'd have warmed 2C by now due to greenhouse warming. So the unadorned, the naked warming the unmasked warming would be 2C. Zeke Hosfather says the world has warmed around 1.3C. Since the mid-1800s, some people might actually argue differently there. Effectively, all of this warming is due to emissions of CO2 and other greenhouse gases. But we'd have experienced substantially more, 0.6C, if planet cooling aerosols were not masking part of that warming, which adds up to pretty much 2C. But if you actually take the the correct number that we're at now, which is not 1.3, let's call it 1. People could argue all kinds of numbers, right? But let's just say 1.5 right now. That's where we're at. Like, seriously, that's where we're at. Let's call a spade a spade. We're over 2C. Have a bear chase you, then you'll run. Yes. Ah. JMW says, so aerosols merely move the heat into the oceans more efficiently. Yeah, basically. That's a good one, Bella. I like that one. $1.3C on a 20-year, 10-year forward moving, 10-year back observation app. So 1.3 on a 20-year moving average, but we're not at 1.3. Sorry. Personally, in my opinion, amazing. It should be more responsive to the rapid rate that we're seeing. Right. 10-year with, say, a 7-year back, 3-year forward model to capture the dynamic nature of what we're experiencing. And you know, basically what we're experiencing is the as yet unrealized temperatures are coming our way, right? We have warming in the pipeline. We have we have unrealized heating in the pipeline, and by whatever method the aerosols fall out of the sky, when they do, if we can't, and this might be a whole other road that I don't really want to go down right now, but if we can't put them back up there, the aerosols, with some of the good old-fashioned geoengineering, if we can't do it fast enough, we're going to get it's just going to be like a flamethrower to the planet. It's going to be a little torch welder to the planet. So, great news, everyone. Somebody says, can't we put the aerosols back? If we're going to do geoengineering, now would be about the right time. Do you want to hear my opinion on it? I won't even say it. I don't need to. Let's keep going. So, in a in a conspiracy theorist wet dream, this article, for all the conspiracy theorists out there, I'm definitely not a conspiracy theorist. Stop laughing. Stop laughing now. Extra Bullet says, I'm listening to you, but I'm trying to recruit anarchists in the Trump rally live stream chat. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Bella, that's exactly right. I would like to know what's actually going on so that we could get an assessment, like a real assessment of how far along are they in the experiment? Like, for real? How effective is it? Has it evolved? Is it not effective anymore? Is it ending? Is it starting? What's going on? I don't know. I need more info. But this article, when I saw this, I was like, oh, because, if you listen to enough alternative journalism, you're bound to hear somebody say, like, next they'll be taxing the farts. They'll be trying to tax the cow farts for climate change. Well, look at this. So, gassy cows and pigs will face a carbon tax in Denmark. A world first. You heard it here first, folks. Denmark will tax livestock farmers for the greenhouse gases emitted by their cows, sheeps, and pigs from 2030. So it's got a couple of years. The first country to do so, as it targets a major source of methane emissions. How do y'all feel about this? One of the most potent gases contributing to global warming. Do you feel like this is justified? Do you think the farmers are a logical target? There are other sources of methane, you know. There are lots of sources of methane, right? But what do you know? Is it let's check this out real quick. See if we can get an answer. Livestock are responsible for 14.5% of global greenhouse gases. So cows and other livestock animals are responsible for 40% of global methane emissions. That's pretty big. Almost half a potent greenhouse gas. Livestock emissions from manure and gastroenteric releases account for 32% of human-caused methane emissions. More than 40% of livestock's climate footprint is made up of methane emissions, mostly from beef and dairy cattle. So that's a pretty large slice of the pie. But what, you know, I feel like, you know, what are you going to do about the melting, the cathrates? You know, what are you going to do? Are you doing something about all the methane that's leaking from oil operations? Are we going, you know, full bore on that? Did a spider just drop down in front of me? I was seeing things. But what do y'all think? I mean, is this like a is this a reasonable response? I don't know. Jazz Farm says no. Industrial farming is responsible for that. Put them on the land, and ruminants are part of carbon sinks. This is what I hear, right? That ruminants can be part of carbon drawdown, right? Part of the restarting the hydrological cycle and, you know, doing regenerative agriculture, that they could be part of that process and not necessarily a source of heating. But methane heats pretty quickly compared to CO2. And 40%, and I imagine there are a lot of methane emissions happening. 40% is quite a lot. But are they going to? Is this really going to help the problem? Is this going to hurt again? Is this going to hurt farmers, especially smaller farmers that can't afford the tax, can't afford the ticket? Man, I love me a good espresso, Bella. I'm not drinking espresso right now, but I had to actually quit drinking espresso because I was having an issue. I was drinking like a lot of espresso. However, I drink espresso coffee quite a bit, but just there's a lot more water involved. Let's keep reading. The aim is to reduce Danish greenhouse gas emissions by 70% from 1990 levels by 2030, said Taxation Minister Jeppe Bruce. I don't know. Did I do that right? Was that close? Or is it Hepe? As of 2030, Danish livestock farmers will be taxed 300 kroner or $43 per ton of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2030. The tax will increase to 750 kroner or $108 by 2035. That could be quite steep. However, because of an income tax deduction of 60%, the actual cost per ton will start at 120 kroner, which is $17.30, and an increase to 300 kroner by 2035. Oh, so there's a little bit of a math magic going on in there. That's interesting. Although carbon dioxide typically gets more attention for its role in climate change, methane traps 87 times more heat on a 20-year timescale, according to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Levels of methane, which is emitted from sources including landfills, oil, natural gas systems, and livestock, have increased particularly quickly since 2020. Livestock account for about 32% of human-caused methane emissions, says the UN Environment Program. We will take a big step closer in becoming climate neutral in 2045, Bruce said, adding Denmark will be the first country in the world to introduce a real CO2 tax on agriculture, and hoped other countries would follow suit. New Zealand had passed a similar law due to take effect in 2025. However, the legislation was removed from the statute book on Wednesday after hefty criticism from farmers and a change of government at the 2023 election from a center-left ruling bloc to a center-right one. New Zealand said it would exclude agriculture from its emissions trading scheme in favor of exploring other ways to reduce methane. Yeah, I imagine this is going to be met with a lot of resistance. You can count on it, right? There's going to be a lot of uproar, clamoring. Is also, what do you guys think? Is this a real? What the heck is going on here? Is this a real? Hey, what is happening? Can you guys see me? What is going on? Help. Help. I don't know what's happening, y'all. Shoot. Things have gotten like really shit. Okay, things are like a little locked up there. Sorry about that. Okay. Do you guys think this is a war on food? Do you see this as a legitimate target of climate controls? Or do you think they should probably concentrate on other things like methane emissions from oil drilling operations, landfills, etc.? Shani says, I still am not hearing how that's going to mitigate the damage to the atmosphere. Is it supposed to be a deterrent? Well, well, I guess that's a good question. Like what is going on? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my. Here we go. Okay. All right. Somehow my tab got separated from the browser and it's gotten all kooky. Um, I can tell you right now, alternative media is going to have a field day with this article. Jazz Farm says this is why Suits shouldn't make ag policy. They have no idea how the carbon cycle works. Eliminate factory farms, put ruminants back on the land, and let them rebuild the topsoil. Ding, ding, ding. I agree. Exactly. And Shawnee, to Shawnee's question, I don't know how this is going to stop it either, right? You're going to tax the farmers for the methane release of the cows, but how is it going to curtail? What are they going to do about this? I mean, that's just a natural process that goes with raising cows, right? So are you going to raise less cows? Are you... Also, they have, this like tax scheme, right? Or 60% like tax rebate. So is this really, I mean, are they really serious about implementing this tax and having it, it seems to be somewhat padded, like a padded, landing there. Because it's not $45 a ton, it's $17 a ton when it starts, which I'm sure is not great. But yeah, how is it going to stop them from raising the cows, from raising the beef, from raising the cattle? Are they just going to pass on the cost of the tax to the consumers? I have questions, and I'm sure a lot of people do. I feel like this is not gonna go well. It's probably gonna go like New Zealand, which is that they're gonna push it out there, and then people are gonna go hail to the no, and then they're gonna bring it on back. They're gonna reel that one back in. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. But nobody's really talking about a real solution to climate change anyway. So, which would mean greatly reducing everyone's consumption model and greatly reducing the economy, basically. By a major amount, 70 or 80%, so that we could stop destroying the planet. Right? Nobody wants to talk about that one. They want to talk about like cow farts and electric car batteries and whatever. Yeah, I don't see it doing anything. So yeah, right. I mean, I just read this paragraph where New Zealand said, "Oh no, sorry, we didn't. No, did we say we were going to tax the cows? No, we're not going to do that." Almost all of the methane from raising livestock, some 90%, comes from the way they digest through fermentation and is released as burps through their mouths. Cows make up most of this belched methane. Most of the remaining 10% of the livestock methane comes off manure ponds on both pig and cattle operations. Denmark's move comes after months of protests by farmers across Europe against climate change mitigation measures and regulations they say are driving them to bankruptcy. So, you guys hate what we're doing? How about we do more? This can only mean, really great things for us. The Danish Society for Nature Conservation, the largest nature conservation and environmental organization in Denmark, described the tax agreement as a historic compromise. We've succeeded in landing a compromise on a CO2 tax which lays the groundwork for a restructured food industry, also on the other side of 2030. So, I mean, it's interesting because they're like, well, we're going to do it in 5 years, and there's like a 60% rebate on the tax. So when we do implement this tax 5 years from now, and you're not really paying the full price, you know, I don't know. It seems slightly toothless, but whatever. Wendy DeLeese says taxing agricultural methane in countries like India, where regional methane worsens heat waves, makes sense. In cooler locations, though, taxing agricultural methane is questionable. Okay. Anyways, it's pretty big. That's a pretty big headline, I'd say, and I don't doubt that we're gonna see. This is gonna be kicked around a lot, and yes, these policies that they're putting in place are absolutely unpopular on every level. JMW says everyone wants to keep living in civilization, and civilization causing global warming, period. Yeah. Well, then there's that. Well, that's the thing is like, you know, they're trying to, it's kind of like saying they're going to do something about, they're going to stop big oil, or they're going to, you know, reduce emissions, or, you know, they're not going to do any of that. They're never going to do any of that, because they all come from things that this civilization requires to keep going. Same with cows and cow farts, right? This civilization requires that, you know, we do more and more and more and more of everything. So there's no real intention by anyone anywhere to do anything of significance in this problem, because nobody's going to talk about the real answer to the other, you know, the real things that we could be doing. Nobody wants to do those things because there isn't money involved, profits. It's actually the opposite. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let's look at some other things while we have time. What's up, Rockfin people? I'm coming over to say hello to the Rockfinners. What's going on? Aram's there. William's there. What's up, William? Osama is there. Osama says the arrival of a rare white buffalo calf this month in Yellowstone National Park signaled, under tribal lore, both a blessing and a warning to the world. Sage burned on the banks of the Hebgen Lake as indigenous tribal leaders marched in procession Wednesday morning to honor the birth of the white buffalo calf. Okay. Okay. This is a good post from Max Wilbert. Twitter folks, what's going on? Am I still showing up on Twitter? I don't see nothing. I guess so. I'm still there. Oh man, I'm way behind. Okay, I gotta hurry up, cover all these things. Cobalt equals slavery, child labor, destitution, forced prostitution, and ecological devastation. How about that for an energy revolution? That's a great image. Absolutely. It's just more of the same, though, right? It's more of the same. This economy, the world economy, runs on exploitation. And if there's a little slavery involved in there, sorry about that. Sorry about your luck. I like that post. Record rain paralyzes Changsha, China. Metro stations and streets are flooded with traffic police rescuing stranded pedestrians in the downpour. In Tierra del Fuego, Argentina, unusually low temperatures have frozen the sea near San Sebastian, north of Rio Grande, or Rio Grande. Rio Grande, eh? Yeah, frozen waves. Yikes, that's cold. When the sea is frozen, that's cold. Oh my God. So many things to talk about, and I only have a few minutes left. But we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about them. From Bill McKibben, by way of Climate Watcher, if we switched to renewable energy, which I, don't know if I want to recommend that or not, the number of ships crossing the ocean would fall almost in half because they're just carrying coal, oil, and gas. Good point, though. Absolutely wonderful point. Half the ships and probably half the trains are carrying coal, oil, and gas. There you go. From Norway, they are stockpiling grain. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Hold on. Why won't you give me the link? Give me the link. Why won't you give me the link? Here we go. It's a coming. Just hold on. Just hold on. When the answer from Sarah Connor, when the answer is to stockpile grain, you don't want to know the question. Before we get to the question, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy watching the show for free 99 every single day, Monday through Friday, and you think to yourself, dang it, I like the show and I want the show to keep on going forward. Maybe I should make a financial donation to the show so that it can continue going forward. I'd say that is a brilliant idea. That is a capital idea. There are lots of links in the description box, and all the usuals are there: the Venmos, the PayPals, the Cash Apps, the Zells, the coffees. Please avail yourselves of any of those. There are lots of other ways too. Rockfins, YouTubes, Patreons, etc. But those direct donation links are kind of a favorite. And to all the people that donate to the show, you rock, and you know who you are. Norway starts stockpiling grain again, citing the pandemic, war, and climate change. Say what? This is from yesterday. The Norwegian government on Tuesday signed a deal to start stockpiling grain, saying the COVID-19 pandemic. What? Wasn't that? Man, that was years ago. COVID-19 pandemic, a war in Europe, and climate change have made it necessary. The deal to store 30,000 tons of grain sounds like a lot. 30,000 tons of grain. In 2024 and 2025 was signed by Agriculture and Food Minister Geir Pollestad, Finance Minister Trygve Slagvold Vedum, and 4 private companies. I'm just destroying the names, I'm sure. The wheat, which will belong to the Norwegian government, will be stored in already existing facilities by the companies and facilities across the country. 3 of the companies will store at least 15,000 tons this year. Companies are free to invest in new facilities and decide for themselves where they want to store the emergency grain, but they must make the grain available to the state if needed, the government said. I don't know. There's a real emergency. Do you trust them? Norway's ministry. Sorry, I lost this. Norway's Ministry for Agriculture and Food said the building up of a contingency stock of food grains is about being prepared for the unthinkable. Norway goes prepper. Norway becomes an entire prepper country. I think that's what's happening. Excuse me. Most countries are prepper countries, by the way. Wendy DeLeese says 30,000 tons of grain will feed 30,000 people for a year. Ton a person represents the harvest of about 30 square kilometers of farmland. Okay. Good to know. Thank you, Wendy. There should be an extra level of security in the event of a major disruption in the international trade systems or failure of national product, Slagvold Vedum said. This is an important part of the government's work to strengthen national preparedness. Norway will sign further stockpiling contracts in the coming years with the goal of building up the reserve until 2029. The aim is to have some 82,500 tons of grain in storage by the end of the decade so that we have enough grain for 3 months' consumption by Norway's population in a crisis situation that may arise. Norway has 5.6 million people, less than the entire county of Los Angeles, or the greater Los Angeles area, however you want to put it. What happens if Los Angeles runs out of water or food? Yikes. Scary times, I can tell you that much. Twitter people, are you with me? Are you there? What else have we got? Oh man. Oh man. This okay, I need to I actually hold on one second. Before I show it to you, before I get there. This is wild news, but confirming something that I thought all along. Let's see. I'm just trying to actually confirm this. Is this confirmed? Let's see. I'm going to confirm this before I talk about it. New York Times, NBC News? Really? Hold on. Let's see if we can get the actual... They're still online. Okay. You know, guys, I'm gonna have to X out this story until later. It's all good. We'll come back. We'll circle back around to it. I just saw it right before I started the show, and I was like, "Aha! I want to talk about this today." But I realized that, like, the source of this tweet, I was like, let me check this first. Because this fool puts out a lot of, stuff that you really got to, there are some outlets you really got to do some diligence on the fact checking, because you could sound real stupid reading. These guys, some of them are the equivalent of the frickin' National Enquirer. National Enquirer Online. We'll just say anything, just any old shit that sounds crazy, and people are like, "What? Oh yeah, totally, I knew that. Aliens really do live inside of RFK Jr.'s brain. Yeah, I knew that." They just like believe everything they read. I almost believed it, and I was like, "Nah, let me check this out." This is called real-time fact-checking, and I'll just thank myself later. But when I saw it, I was like, holy let me see this first. But nay, alas, I cannot report on the story until I get some more information on it. So we're going to save that one for later. Not I'm seeing. I think, guys, that about does it. Y'all have anybody have any hot breaking news items for me? Anybody have any burning desires to get off your chest before we end the show? Wendy DeLee says in non-tropical countries where more than one grain harvest does not happen per year, 3 months of food storage is not enough. You want at least a year in order to reach the next harvest. Yes. That is playing it safe. Justin McNeil says shnikes. Exactly. I was I don't want to get into it with the Assange thing. I thought I had something interesting on Assange, but I realized, like, when I looked at the tweet and I realized the source of it, I was like, well, hold on. Let me back up. I think that would be prudent. Prudent, I say. Kamashwari Kate says, breaking news, the system is broken. Thank you. Thank you for that. Shit. No. Burning desire to wake up and realize it is a nightmare. Dang. Yeah. I did get a donation from Lou Johns. Thanks, Lou. I appreciate you, man. On the old PayPals. Lou coming through. And also, Lou sends me the delicious coffees, which, man, I can't tell you how much I enjoy that gift. Because the coffee is delicious, and man, do I love coffee. I think that about does it. I think that might do it for the donations today. Guys, what is it? Wednesday? Golly. I'm going to be back tomorrow at the regular time. That's Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. The fact that everybody shows up here and hangs out with me every day is really awesome. So thank you guys for being here. And thanks for joining in this really fun little hoedown we do every day. And thanks for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. And especially thank you for the conversation. Until next time, get ready. Peace.